sobrang di ko pa mapaniwala. Maraming salamat sa suporta. Sana patuloy yung suporta niyo sa
Spent 4 weeks basically demanding that Parliament be recalled and that we legislate straight away. And we do the work, we put the legislation.
Kamusta mga kapong Pinoy? Surprise! Excited na akong imbitahin kayong lahat na manood sa mga
Prime Minister in tears. The Alex Eala Australian Open bombshell has the world stunned. What is going on down under? Seriously, have you ever seen anything like this? The Australian Open has never started with a bang quite like today. Just minutes ago, Rod Laver Arena didn't just host a tennis match, it witnessed a full-blown emotional moment that has everyone talking. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was seen visibly breaking down in tears before thousands of stunned spectators, a rare sight for any world leader. And what caused this reaction? The words of a 20-year-old tennis prodigy. An intensely emotional moment unfolded as Albanese, sitting courtside, was struck by what witnesses describe as a direct, profound, and deeply painful message from the Philippines' own Alexandria Eala. The message from the Philippines' own Alexandria Eala was profound and deeply painful, cutting straight to the heart. For a few seconds, the entire stadium fell into a suffocating silence. You could hear a pin drop. The tension was palpable, the kind that makes the air feel heavy, almost impossible to breathe. Then, pandemonium erupted. The crowd didn't just clap, they roared, a wave of thunderous applause that seemed to roll through the stands, washing away the tension yet leaving many in tears. Emotions were etched on every face. It was raw, it was unscripted, and it set the stage for what is shaping up to be the most dramatic Australian Open of Alexandria Eala's young career. But if you think the drama ends with a crying Prime Minister, you're wrong. That was only the prologue. The real nightmare and the real tears may come from what the Australian Open officials just handed Eala, a draw from hell, an impossible road ahead, and a heartbreaking choice that could force her to choose between Grand Slam glory and the history-making homecoming she's been dreaming of. Eala now faces a heartbreaking choice that could force her to choose between Grand Slam glory and the history-making homecoming she has long dreamed of. Stripping away the emotion for a moment and looking at the cold, hard reality, Alexandria has arrived in Melbourne at a career-high ranking of world number 49, fresh off a semi-final run in Auckland, and she is looking dangerous. But the tennis gods were not smiling when the draw came out, they were laughing. Eala has been handed what insiders are calling a nightmare draw. There is no easing into this tournament, no warm-up match. Her very first main draw match at the Australian Open, her debut on this grand stage, places her directly in the path of one of the most unpredictable and formidable opponents in the game. Her very first main draw match at the Australian Open, her debut on this stage, pits Alexandria Eala against one of the most unpredictable and dangerous unseeded players on the planet, America's Alicia Parks. Don't let the world number 100 ranking fool you. Parks is a walking stick of dynamite. She shares the record for the fastest serve in US Open history at 129 miles per hour, a serve that is less a delivery and more a weapon. When Parks is on, she hits the ball with such pace it can literally take the racket out of an opponent's hand. She has already won a WTA title, defeating Caroline Garcia on indoor hard courts, and has reached the third round here in Melbourne before. For Eala, this is a clash of styles that could turn ugly in an instant. Eala relies on lefty spin, grit, and tactical construction of points, while Parks depends on pure, unadulterated power. Leave a ball short, and it's a winner. Sit back, and it's a return ace. Pundits are already whispering that this could be the upset alert of round one, warning that Parks' firepower has the potential to overwhelm the 20-year-old if Eala isn't at her absolute best. Eala cannot afford even a hint of nerves, and let's be real, they will be there. This is her debut on the grand stage, the Prime Minister is crying in the stands, and the world is watching. Can she handle the heat of an American power hitter who has absolutely nothing to lose? The pressure mounts by the second, and every tennis analyst from Melbourne to Manila is dissecting this match, some even calling it the most dangerous first-round matchup in the entire women's draw. But let's play the optimist. If Eala plays the match of her life, neutralizes Park's serve, grinds her down, and advances to the second round, does it get easier? Not at all. Waiting in the wings is Karolina Muchova, the Czech magician who reached the Roland Garros final in 2023. Widely regarded as one of the most talented players on tour when healthy, Muchova has been ranked as high as world number 8. She doesn't just hit the ball, she plays chess with it, crafting each point with precision and cunning. Slices, drop shots, net rushes Machova disrupts rhythm better than almost anyone. If Parks is a sledgehammer, Machova is a scalpel, and Eala would have to completely reinvent her game plan within 48 hours just to survive that challenge. And if, by some miracle, she gets past Machova, a deeper round clash looms with her former doubles partner, the American superstar Coco Gauff. Imagine the storyline: friends turned rivals, lefty grit versus supreme athleticism. But Gauff isn't just a friend, she's a Grand Slam champion, a wall who makes you hit 4, 5, 6 extra balls every point. And in the same half of the draw waits the tiger herself, Aryna Sabalenka, the defending champion, whose shots hit so hard they sound like gunfire. This isn't a draw, it's a gauntlet, a row of sharks circling for a drop of blood. 3 Grand Slam champions potentially stand between Eala and a deep run. The Australian Open officials looked at the 20-year-old Filipina and seemed to say, "Welcome to the big leagues, kid. Good luck." Albanese is known as an emotional and empathetic leader, someone who wears his heart on his sleeve, but even for him, this was an unusually raw display of feeling. Footage of the moment has gone viral, racking up millions of views across social media as people dissect every frame, try to read lips, and search for context. Some fans are praising Alexandria Eala for using her platform to speak truth to power, while others question whether such a deeply personal moment should have unfolded in public. But one thing is undeniable: Eala has transcended tennis. She has become a cultural figure, a voice whose impact extends far beyond the court. Whether she wins or loses in Melbourne, that voice will continue to resonate. The Philippine government has already released a statement lauding her grace and composure, with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. calling her a national treasure and expressing hope that she would make the country proud regardless of the outcome. The Philippine Tennis Federation echoed these sentiments, emphasizing that Eala has already achieved so much and that the nation stands firmly behind her. It's that kind of support that can fortify a young athlete facing the gauntlet that is the Australian Open. For Eala, the overwhelming support seems to be lifting her. She has embraced her role as a national icon, taking on the responsibility with grace, and made it clear that she isn't just playing for herself, she's playing for every Filipino who has ever dreamed of achieving something great. But the elephant in the room remains: the scheduling conflict and the impossible choice it presents. If Eala somehow defies the odds and makes a deep run in Melbourne, the Philippine Women's Open may have to proceed without its biggest star. Organizers have contingency plans, they'll promote other players and highlight the historic nature of the event, but everyone knows it won't be the same. The entire marketing campaign has been built around Eala. She's on the posters, in the commercials, and the reason sponsors signed on. Without her, the tournament loses its centerpiece, which isn't fair to organizers, fellow players, or fans who bought tickets specifically to see her. Some have suggested that the WTA could have done more to prevent this conflict, perhaps by pushing the Philippine Women's Open back a week or coordinating with the Australian Open. But the truth is, the tennis calendar has always been a mess, and players are constantly caught between conflicting events, sponsor obligations, and ranking pressures. The system is broken, and Eala is just the latest talent to face its consequences. Eala is the latest victim of a broken system, but pointing fingers won't solve the problem. Right now, all anyone can do is watch and wait. Will she crash out early and return to Manila, or will she shock the world, push herself into the second week, and sacrifice her homecoming in the process? Either way, it will be emotional, dramatic, and impossible to look away from. The betting markets have been going wild. Odds on Eala beating Parks started relatively even, but as more people recognize the power differential, the line has shifted heavily in Parks' favor. Some bookmakers are offering as high as 3:1 against Eala winning in straight sets. Yet smart money is beginning to trickle in on the Filipina. Why? Because she's been in high-pressure situations before. She won the US Open girls title, competed in Fed Cup, and has faced match points only to come back and win. She has that champion's mentality, and champions find a way. The contrast between Eala and Parks could not be more stark. Parks relies on sheer power, while Eala thrives on grit, strategy, and mental toughness. Parks is all aggression, all power, all or nothing. She can hit 10 winners in a row and then double fault 5 times in a game. She's streaky, volatile, and on a big stage like the Australian Open, that volatility can cut both ways. If Parks comes out firing and everything clicks, Eala could be in serious trouble. But if Parks gets tight, if the nerves take over, if she starts missing those big first serves, Eala has the tools to capitalize. She'll drag Parks into long rallies, make her move, and force her to hit that extra ball eventually. Parks might crack. That's the plan, the only path to victory. Eala cannot out-hit Parks. She must outthink, outgrind, and outlast her. Then there's the crowd factor. Melbourne has a huge Filipino community, and Eala will feel their support in the stands, hear her name chanted, and soak in that energy. Tennis is often called an individual sport, but anyone who's played in front of a partisan crowd knows it isn't entirely true. The fans' energy can lift you when you're down, give you a burst of adrenaline when your legs are tired, and intimidate your opponent. If the Filipino fans show up in force, as all indications suggest, Rod Laver Arena could feel more like Manila than Melbourne, giving Eala a psychological edge that no statistic can measure. So, where does this leave us? We have a Prime Minister wiping tears from his eyes after a mysterious, deeply emotional encounter. We have a 20-year-old star facing a draw that reads like a horror movie script. We have a historic homecoming hanging in the balance, dependent entirely on her performance in Melbourne. This is not just tennis, it's theater, drama you cannot write. Will Alicia Parks blast Eala off the court with 129 miles per hour serves? Will Eala channel the emotion of that courtside moment with Anthony Albanese and shock the world? Or will she bow out early, catch the flight to Manila, and lift a trophy in front of her countrymen? The next 48 hours will decide everything. The Australian Open has barely begun, and already the storylines are overflowing. One thing is certain: you do not want to miss a single second. The tension is palpable, the stakes are sky high, and Alexandria Eala stands at the eye of the storm. Everything revolves around her, and whether she rises to the occasion or falls short, her journey will be one for the ages. This is what sports is all about. This is why we watch. This is why we care. In moments like these, we're not just witnessing athletic competition, we're witnessing human drama in its rawest form. Is this draw unfair to Eala, or the test she needs to become a champion? And what about that shocking moment with the Prime Minister? Too much, or the kind of raw emotion sports needs?
Kamusta mga kapong Pinoy? Surprise! Excited na akong imbitahin kayong lahat na manood sa mga laban ko sa Mubadala, Abu Dhabi.
Overachieving is a thing, as they say, dream big. I think that we had the...
Hi everyone, it's Carolina here. I'm really happy and grateful to be in semifinals again here in New York, and I look forward to